So first day, officially of my mission in the field, I was assigned to an area called Taniyama in the Japan Fukuoka mission, and I had a Japanese trainer, and I was only one of probably 3 of the missionaries in my group of 30 that came over at the same time. Probably only 3 of us had Japanese trainers. They usually try to match Americans with Americans and Japanese with Japanese so that you have at least some consistency with the language. So there was only a couple of people that had mixed companionship, and it was really intense. But as soon as I found out that my trainer was going to be Japanese, I was so excited, and I knew that it was such a huge blessing because Heavenly Father had already helped me so much in like picking up Japanese in the MTC, and I recognized that this was just another opportunity for me to learn Japanese and like learn it fast. So Taniyama is located kind of at the bottom. So Konshu is the main island that's Fukuoka mission, and then it has like little baby islands in Okinawa and things, but it's at the bottom of that main island. So it was like a 3-4 hour bus ride from Fukuoka, which is where our mission headquarters is, down to my area. So I was just riding the bus, and they had like Transformers playing, and I was like, I'm not gonna look at it. And so I just like stared out the window and just tried to like focus on other things and think about it, and it was just so weird to be sitting there and be like, I'm in Japan, like I'm half a world away from everyone in the world that I know and like the things that I'm used to, and it was so strange to like look around and everyone is speaking a different language. All of the stop signs were, you know, written in kanji and Japanese, and I'm just like, I don't know anything, but this is so cool. And Japan is so beautiful. And riding the bus, I got to go through all of the country, and it's just so green. It's the most green place ever, and there's trees and vegetation everywhere, and and like rolling hills and mountains, and you know, and it was beginning of June, so the weather was gorgeous and it was just beautiful. And so had that wonderful bus ride down, and I was like really panicking about where to get off because I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, but I just rode it all the way to the end and I was like, I'm just gonna, hopefully I'll get there. So we did, and pulled into the bus station, and my companion was there with a senior couple who drove her to come and get me, and they were Americans, so I got to talk to them, which was really nice. And I really wanted to like speak Japanese to my companion for the first time, so I got off the bus and I said something to her in Japanese. I don't really remember. It was probably like, hi, nice to meet you. And she told me later on she was really concerned about having an American missionary, especially a brand new missionary they called Beans. She was really worried about it because her English is not very developed. They all have to study English, but they can't really speak it ever, which is really interesting. So she was really worried about it and like having to train a missionary and worrying about that language barrier. But she told me later that as soon as I got off the bus and said something in Japanese, she was like, okay, like this is gonna be good. We can do this. So she was so sweet. Her name was Sister Kobayashi, and she was from Sapporo, which is northern Japan. And she spoke a little bit of English, but she was just so sweet. And she was one of the sweetest people that I've ever met. And she's probably the person I'd say who really taught me what it is to be kind. And it was hard like adjusting in Japan because my jet lag manifested itself in dizziness. So I was dizzy all the time. And so I couldn't work very much, which was upsetting because I wanted to, but she was always like, go lay down. Like, go lay down, don't worry about it. And it was those little acts that made me realize that's what it is to be kind, and like put your needs on the back burner, and helping this new missionary is what she did. So that was just so wonderful. So we found our apartment, and our area had been closed to sister missionaries for about 5 months. So we were the first sister missionaries there in a long time. Their apartment hadn't been used, so we had to find the key, and we couldn't find the key. So we had to call our zone leaders who like came over and helped us find the key. And finally got inside, and like it was dirty, like there was rotten food in the fridge, like it was just not really good. But we cleaned it out and, you know, dusted everything and vacuumed, got it all ready to go. I got to unpack, hang up my clothes, what little clothes I had, and, you know, got a futon ready. So we sleep on these futons, which just lie on the floor. And it's funny because I had a companion later on that's like, we sleep on the floor. And I'm like, I never saw it that way. You sleep on a futon, but you have to take them outside and beat them. You have like a tent, like a, what's it called? Like badminton. You have a badminton racket. You take it outside and you beat it with the badminton racket so that you get all the dust out of it. So we did that, and then we went shopping, and I just remember like, I'm shopping in Japan for the first time ever, and I don't know what's going on. And it was just this really tiny market that was like right on the corner of where we lived. And I remember seeing like an octopus leg just like there for you to buy and eat, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm never gonna buy that, but thanks. And I like tried to look for normal things, and it was like, this place smells like fish. There's a bunch of, but there was lots of like fruits and veggies and things, so there were some normal things that I recognized, but I'm like, this is weird, there's all this stuff and I can't read any of the labels, they're all in Japanese, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go with it. We got to have that done, and then in the evening later in the afternoon, I think that we went out and tracked it a little bit, talked to some people on the street, and I remember I was like so determined. I wanted to talk to someone, and my confidence was a little bit more shaky than it had been with Japanese now that I was actually in Japan, but I knew I wanted to talk to someone. So I was walking on the street. There was this old man, and I walked up to him and I said, hey, we're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like, have you ever heard about Christ or something like that? And we talked for like a couple sentences, and then we walked away. And my companion was like, by the way, we can't talk to men. And I had known that in the MTC, but I forgot. And the reason why is in Japan, they have a law where if you are a woman, you cannot like proselyte to a man. And vice versa. So I had forgotten about that, and I was like, great. Facepalm moment. But I got over it, and eventually we were able to talk to like other women throughout the day. So it was a pretty exciting first day.